Souldin of the Grin Brothers here, and welcome to yet another episode of Tea Time. Whether this is uploaded on the day I'm making it, or whether it's saved, I don't know yet. It all depends on how things go. Also, sorry if you just heard a vehicle passing by. I think a truck or a lorry just passed by. And again, we've yet to change rooms, but apparently it's going to be soon. There may be a bit of delay in uploading episodes though, because apparently we won't be able to sort of record or anything. And unless editing on these Sonic Adventure episodes get done sort of pretty well over these few days, although there's a lot of busy things at the moment. Hopefully though, because we've only got a few left of Sonic's campaign, we'll be able to get those done. Anyway. It's yet another episode of Tea Time. And with me today is it's not, there it is. Just trying to find the packet. Part of the new English tea set, like I had yesterday, I have a English afternoon tea. Hopefully this one, because in my Wittard pack of teas, there was a tea called Afternoon. It tastes absolutely disgusting. Hopefully though, this one will be a different tea, because one, it has English at the beginning of it, and two, it says serve with milk or sugar to taste, whereas the other one didn't say anything about having milk or sugar. In fact, it recommended to have it pure, so hopefully this will be better tasting tea than regular Afternoon. The Britishness in it shall help it succeed in its flavour. Oh wow. Sorry, the sound recording just slowed down. It's rather amusing. While I record these, I'm literally just looking at the sound recordings. In any case, we're almost 2 minutes in and I've yet to even discuss the topic. Well, that's because I'm mostly just going ahead with this without much of a plan. Tea time was supposed to be more of a casual thing, easy to do and easy to sort of think up. So, yeah, not much of a plan for this one. I have been I've got ideas I've been thinking about for doing to a tea time, but some of them need preparation. So I figured, because I'm trying to prepare so many of these ones, why not just do a more casual focused one? And well, I've been thinking, the top 6 most looked forward to games, my very first tea time, I didn't really, of 2015, I didn't really, as it was only top 6, I didn't have many I could sort of add in, did I? It's 6, it's rather limiting. Furthermore, games were announced soon after, so here is the general sort of games I'm looking forward to, hopefully playing next year, and hopefully my raised voice will be able to notify people that I'm recording, just in case they try to disturb. I never know what's going to happen. Yeah, so here's just a general games I'm looking forward to to playing next year. Maybe, if I happen to get them or such. I mean, they could even be older games which have already come out. For instance, on my birthday isn't actually that far off. It's like, only a couple months from Christmas. So I tend to have whatever I don't have for my Christmas for my birthday, which is a pretty convenient thing. Because, my family hasn't got huge amounts of money to go about spending. Try to put some of the cheaper games, which is why Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is on the list. But another game which would have gone down in price because it was early on in the Wii U's life would be Ninja Gaiden's free Razor Edge, which I'd like to try out. Never played a Ninja Gaiden game before. Played the Shinobi game for the Sega's Shinobi games. Really enjoyed Shinobi 3. That was pretty awesome. I think I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but Shinobi's protagonist is my character of choice on Sega All Stars Racing Transform. But yeah, I'm a fan of Dead or Alive, as you know, from Dead or Alive 5 Last Round being my third most wanted game of 2015, and so I am interested in playing Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge. It was actually one of the games I was looking forward to the Wii U, but at the time it just ended up passing by. I didn't follow when it was properly releasing. I thought it was going to be a launch title, much like Wonderful 101, but it wasn't the case. Any case, other games I'm looking forward to next year. Well, one of the games which was close to getting onto my list was Fable Legends. Yeah, I'm a bit of a fan of Fable series. Mostly Fable 1 and 2, didn't like Fable 3. Never actually played the Fable Connect game. Despite how it seems to be very important to the story from what I've read up on what happens in the storyline. In fact, me and Rafi could have a very big argument over which is better, Fable 1 or Fable 2. because I'm a fan of Fable 2 over Fable 1. He's a fan of Fable 1 over Fable 2. But I'm looking forward to Fable Legends because I've always enjoyed the sort of Fable setting and such, and it goes back into the past because if it's one thing I do admit that Fable 1 has over Fable 2 is that the setting of having the actual hero guild in place is, well, this is actually before hero, but having multiple heroes and such is more interesting than Fable 2, you know, the sort of heroes are a dying thing sort of thing. And another game that was announced recently that that I actually commented in the summary of one of my videos, and then had to edit said summary, is Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4. It's one of the few sort of multi-platform third-party titles that I sort of enjoy, along with BlazBlue and Dead or Alive. They're sort of one of the few sort of third-party series that appear not on the Nintendo consoles that I'd rather play most of them on. Again, I got my Xbox One because of exclusives, console exclusives, Ori and the Blind Forest, Sunset Overdrive, Killer Instinct. These are the sort of games that got me an Xbox One, but of course it helps that, sadly, I don't think Dead or Alive 5 Last Round or Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4 will be coming to the Wii U. I'd have loved it if any Naruto game came to the Wii U at the moment. I mean, the series has just ended. It'd be great for an anniversary thing if they made like an exclusive Naruto game for Wii U, or and eventually then exclusive games to the other systems. Generally a lot of the Naruto games have just been fighting games of late, which you'd think that try to experiment a little bit more with at least on consoles, because I know sort of PSP had a great game which I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's actually probably my favourite PSP game, the Naruto game that's available on it. Yes, again, the problem with doing it sort of casual thing. One thing I had to, a little bit of research I did into my top 6 most look forward to games of 2015. I actually looked up first a game I wanted to include in the list, but was only planning on including games which were actually definitively set for a UK release. The game I'm thinking of is Bravely Second. Bravely Default Flying Fairy is my second favourite 3DS game to date. It was my favourite. I was surprised it beat out Pokemon X and Y, and what my favourite game for the 3DS was. Well, my favourite game of that year was. But then, of course, like sort of 4 or 5 months afterwards, I can't remember the exact amount of months afterwards. UK, we got it early than the US, so it was a 2013 release, not 2014. But Bravely Default Flying Fairy was my second favourite game until Kirby Triple for the 3DS, until Kirby Triple Deluxe came out. I love Kirby games, so sorry Bravely Default. Good try though. I'm just so glad that Square Enix remembered to make a proper Final Fantasy game again, even if they had to call it something completely different. So of course I'm looking forward to Bravely Second. Admittedly, I never completed Bravely Default, but from what I've heard, that's because completing Bravely Default is a complete pain to try and do. But what was good was the core mechanics, the core stuff, all the gameplay. It was the most, and some of the additional gameplay features. I quite enjoyed the characters. Those were all really good. So I'm glad that Bravely Second will come about. I'm usually a big fan of sequels, but I'd even just be happy with spiritual sequels, because again, it'd be pretty similar to Final Fantasy. I mean, they were all technically spiritual sequels, because they always sort of changed what the character and casts were. But I'm just glad to have that sort of gameplay back again, because I loved a lot of the Final Fantasy games of old, particularly Final Fantasy 9, just as something to mention. Other games? Well, for the 3DS, there is a game I'm wanting to try out, which is apparently coming out on physical release this year. Fossil Fighters Frontier, I think it is. Fossil Fighters, I found out, was actually a Nintendo series, because funny enough, when it came out, I just thought it was like some sort of Pokemon ripoff by some other company, but no, it's Nintendo made it. It's another Nintendo IP. I was actually sort of hoping Fossil Fighters could have a chance of sort of some proper representation in Smash Bros. Particularly given that they started adding, customized, the sort of like gender swap characters, sort of avatar things. Not something I was a fan of before, but now that they're in, well, might as well go ahead with others. And Fossil Fighters it could summon dinosaurs, and who wouldn't want a gameplay character who could summon dinosaurs? In any case, it looks fun, and I guess I just want to try it. I mean, I like trying out new Nintendo series, so after all, I did a lot of research on Nintendo series in regards to Super Smash Bros. Because I do Super Smash Bros. Fan fiction, so I've done lots of research on it before. Other things. Well, on the indie side of things, yeah, I could probably make a whole episode about sort of Kickstarter and such, but there aren't actually that many games that I'm probably going to play which I've actually funded on Kickstarter. But the game that comes to the top of my mind, well, next year, Twisted Fusion should come out. It's a Wii exclusive game, made by a UK team of like 3 people. I helped fund it. There's actually a funny story about that. It was close to reaching its first Kickstarter goal, so I actually increased how much I paid towards it to actually get it over its not its initial goal. It had already succeeded its goal, but to get its like a next stretch goal, I actually boosted how much I was paying, which I probably shouldn't have because I didn't have that much need to begin with. Apparently, after January the 1st, Shovel Knight's going to go down in price to $8.99, so I'm actually going to buy that. Hopefully the same will prove for some of the other sort of games in the sort of store I'm wanting to play, such as Scram Kitty and I think Scram Kitty and his buddy in Rails are already down in price. Costume Quest 2, I'd love it if that went down in price, because that's also like $12.99 at the moment. Big fan of turn-based games. There's a Shantae game I'm willing to try. Didn't have much fun with the Game Boy Color one, admittedly, but I think I'd prefer sort of playing it on the Wii U and such than on 3DS of a Game Boy Color game. They didn't give me much direction as to where I should go. That's kind of my problem. And I was like, am I getting battered for nothing? It was always a worry that was just popping up in my head when playing that game. But I'd like to try out. And me and my brothers had a great time with Trine 2 on the Wii U. So Trine Definitive Edition and a Director's Cut or something like that coming to the Wii U. I know of that, so I definitely want to sort of play that at some point. There's also, I'm not a fan of the sort of 3D open world sort of games, but it's been a long time since I've played any of them, and I know Rafi's looking forward to it. There's Hat in Time, which I think is coming to Wii U. I'm pretty sure it was confirmed for Wii U at least. Hopefully so, because Rafi's looking forward to that. Another game I saw that was pretty interesting was on sort of Kickstarter goal, which reached. There was a Girl and Robot. I think it was a Girl and Robot. I was trying to sort of support it, but I think it came to problems with the means. I always have a problem with, where as you sort of try and support the sort of Kickstarter goals, you've certain ones don't accept certain payment types. I think I only have Amazon, and I think some require you to actually have a PayPal account, which is a nuisance. Sometimes you don't need a PayPal account, they'll just accept it, but yeah, trying to support these Kickstarters, it always depends on, 1, how much money I have at the time, and 2, whether I can actually have the sort of means to support it. And another game, I was going to support it, but at the moment I'm not sort of like strong on cash, so I'm so glad that it ended up reaching it in all the way up to its Wii U stretch goal, is Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight I love the look of, because it's all insects and the art style looks lovely. Don't think of it as like some sort of Shovel Knight ripoff, because it certainly isn't. Despite the similar sounding name, it doesn't look that way at all. Seems to draw inspiration from sort of like some pretty different games. But Hollow Knight, I just love the art style, the look and design to it, and I was really wanting to support it, but didn't have enough money at the time, a bit cash strapped. But thankfully, it succeeded at every goal it wanted, every goal that I personally wanted to achieve. So it will be on the Wii U. So I'll be looking forward to play it. I mean, I don't play PC games, so if it was only on PC, I wouldn't sort of have to play it. I was still thinking of supporting it by tenner anyway, even if it was on PC. But the free demo that apparently you get if you support it by a tenner, I wouldn't have ended up playing it. Now, I'm going to try out my English afternoon tea. That is much better than regular afternoon tea. Maybe because I had it with milk. Well, that was a wonderful afternoon tea I had at 9 in the morning. Yeah, I'm recording this really early. Anyway, cheerio everyone. I hope you enjoyed this random rambling. I can't think of another R word for it. Basically, I've just talked about things, about games I'm looking forward to. There's probably more I could talk about. But for now, cheerio.